Hi, welcome to how to animate a Google slide for a presentation. So I'm going to model this on something that an educator could use as an intro lesson or one slide of a full lesson, or something that you're doing as a presentation for a group of people and you want to have control over how much somebody sees as you populate your slide. So you can see that I have order of operations here for students to look at, and there's a lot on the slide. So rather than overwhelm a student or an audience, I'm going to animate it so that it can become more engaging for them as they're watching the presentation, and I have control of how the slide populates throughout my lecture or my lesson. So the first thing I want to do is I want to note what they want to see before I start speaking. And the only thing I want them to see is this order of operations title. You may or may not agree with that, but the first thing I am going to animate is this letter P, because I want them to see this acronym PEMDAS for order of operations first. So as soon as I collect on my image, you can see that this animate comes up in this top screen, the top menu bar. So I'm going to click on animate and it opens up your animation menu. And you can see that my image P is right here under object animations. So here the defaults are it's going to fade in on a click. And that's exactly what I want it to happen. When I click or hit the arrow on my keyboard or use my pointer, I want the P to appear. So the next thing I want to happen is my E. And I want the E to actually follow the P. I don't want it to wait for me to click. So this is how I would do it. I click on the image for the E, I add animation, and this automatically goes to the default that it's going to fade in, which is what I want, but it's going to come in on the click. I'm going to hit this drop down and I'm going to change the on click to after the previous. So what happens is I click, the P populates and appears on the screen, and then the E. And also to mention here, if you want to make it a little fancier, there's all of these ideas, all of these different motions that can happen. You can zoom in, fly in, you can control whether it comes in from the left or the right. I am just typically wanting students to not be completely disengaged or distracted by how it's coming in. I just want it to appear. So I leave it on fade in. Now I'm going to go move along and let's click on our M and D, add the animation. I'm going to do the same thing here as I did with the E. I want it to fade in, not on the click, but after the previous. So now M and D will fade in after E fades in. And then my last, my A and S, add my animation. I got to scroll down to see it, fade in, and I want that after previous. So now when you're animating a slide, you can take a break at any time and hit this play button to see what you've done. So I'm going to hit play, and you can see that my explanation for each of my letters is here, but my acronym is not. But when I hit click, here's how it animates after one click. So that's just one click and it populates. So now I'm going to stop my play. I'm going to click on parentheses. I'm going to add animation, and I'm going to have this one actually fade in on the click. So when I'm prepared, I'm going to hit the arrow or the click or my pointer and it will fade in. Exponents, same thing, add animation, and I'm going to keep the defaults because I don't want this to populate after parentheses. I want to be able to talk to students about this and see what their thoughts are and manipulate this on my own. Same thing with multiply and divide and add and subtract. So you can see it gets really easy if you're going to keep the defaults. Now let's check our work. Play. Click once. Here is PE, M and D, A and S. Now I'm ready to talk about P. Click, here's my parentheses. E, click, here's my exponents. Click, here's multiply and divide. And click, here's add and subtract. So there you have it. That is how you can animate a Google slide for presentations.